Hi, my name is Fiona from Tavua, and I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, FICAC conducts raid at Sudelpa office. ILO predicts gloom employment future. And do not take advantage, FNPF warns employers.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
The Social Democratic Liberal Party headquarters in McGregor Road, Suva, was searched by the Fiji Independent Commission against Corruption this morning. Party General Secretary Emilian Tuturanga confirms this was in relation to a complaint regarding alleged breaches of the Parliamentary Remuneration Act by Sudelpa MPs. The search warrant was to obtain information and documentation relating to party membership and registration relating to residential addresses of certain Sudelpa MPs. Tuturanga adds that she, along with party staff, the two acting vice presidents and party leader Sitiveni Rambuka, cooperated with FICAC officers. Rambuka has been requested by Sudelpa executives to liaise directly with members of parliament affected by the FICAC investigation. Social Democratic Liberal Party General Secretary Emilian Tuturanga has stressed that transparency and accountability top of the agenda as they work to unite and move the party forward. She says ensuring that systems are in place is a priority leading up to the party's special general meeting scheduled for July 25th. Lena Rees has more.
The General Secretary believes the time in suspension has helped them look at their constitutional compliance as they prepare to draft manuals and standing operating procedures for the party.
It's a new executive, it's a new management, and certainly we would be looking to consult more, to involve our constituencies especially. I mean, they are represented on our management board. We've set ourselves an agenda for a special general meeting and a general meeting towards the end of the year. And of course, this is also part of our preparations towards 2022.
Despite talks of bringing in a process for the selection of a new party leader later this month, Sitiveni Rambuka confirms he will stick with Sudelpa through to the next election.
Well, I'm firmly in Sudelpa and I will continue to fight for Sudelpa. Looking forward to the end of the second year of this term and also preparing for 2022.
The meeting later this month will also deal with the deferment of its annual general meeting, adopt audited financial statements for 2019 and a process for the selection of party leader. Lena Rees, FBC News.
The International Labour Organization says about 115,000 Fijian workers have been affected by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. With the tourism sector making up the bulk of these numbers, COVID-19 has taken its toll on other sectors as well. The ILO's COVID-19 impact assessment on employment and businesses reveals that these workers include those who have been made redundant, on leave without pay or working on reduced hours. Kelly Vadala reports.
The coronavirus crisis has taken a much heavier toll on jobs than previously feared. In its latest study, the International Labour Organization estimates that by the mid-year point, global working hours were down 14%. Fiji has not been spared, and the latest findings is a cause of major concern.
It demonstrates that there are about 115,000 workers affected by pandemic in Fiji. And 60% of these workers, they actually transited to the different forms of employment.
The ILO says the workforce in developing countries are feeling the brunt of the pandemic and that 93% of the world's workers live in countries still affected by some sort of workplace closures. Fijians say they are lucky if a family member is still employed.
My husband's hours short and he's only working for 3 days.
I've been laid off from work, so to make ends meet, I am selling pineapples around Suva.
Some people in my family have experienced major pay cuts in the last 3 months.
Projections show that the end of unemployment is not in sight, as a projected decline of 4.9% in working hours or 104 million job losses worldwide is expected in the second quarter of this year. ILO says many Fijian businesses are also struggling to stay afloat.
They report difficult of cash flow Some enterprises, they report that they have cash flow only for 6 months, but some small and micro businesses report that they have cash flow only 3 months.
The Fiji Commerce and Employees Federation says its members are not operating at 100%.
We're expecting about 40% of the businesses have had some sort of disruption to their business.
The ILO report also says female workers worldwide have been affected the most, as 40% of all employed women work in the most hard-hit sectors of the coronavirus crisis, compared to 36.6% of men. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Close to 1,600 employers have failed to make timely contributions to the Fiji National Provident Fund in the last 2 months. Some have notified the fund of their financial struggles due to the negative effects of COVID-19. Apanisa Wangairandovo reports, while temporary arrangements have been made, the fund has warned it will not tolerate any employers intending to take advantage of the current situation.
While the FNPF board has approved a relief package for employers affected by the pandemic, it warns employer contribution remains a statutory obligation.
And you have to come to us. It's not going to be extended automatically to all those employers. You still have to come to FNPF, and then we'll work out a 12-month arrangements. You've got to buy something upfront. You get a relief on the penalty, but then we are giving you a bit of time to pay.
Seeing one's employer trying to cheat that they will be caught eventually.
The ones that are still trying to game the system will still have the backing of the law, will prosecute them, and will take them to the normal course of prosecution.
Chief Executive Chauchi Koroi says the FNPF app will be helpful in such situations as members can track their funds.
By using this digital platform, you can actually track where their contributions have been deducted to us. So that this is a very powerful tool for members to have.
Koroi says compliance is a joint responsibility between the fund and the members, and the app targets to increase compliance. Apanisa Wangairandovo, FBC News.
Vatakola Gold Mines have been given the green light to construct a new dam to collect tailings or waste remains from mining processes. The approval was granted after teams from the Mines and Mineral Resources Department addressed the Environment Impact Assessment criteria and other requirements stipulated in the Environment Management Act. Josiah Nunga reports this will be the 7th dam at the site.
The new dam is an alternative to ensure the tailings are collected in a safe manner, which will also reduce any form of hazards.
So Vatakola, for all the samples, they are analyzed, and then the reports are made known to the company and also to the communities. The communities when the team goes out for consultations.
Certain people who will work with land-based forestry, so different people do it differently. I mean, some could handle hydrology to species, biodiversity protection, and all sorts of things, waste management and all that.
The Mineral Resources Department is reminding the companies proposing to conduct any mining work in Fiji to fulfill the criteria set out by the Director Mines.
For mining, legal access. So that legal access has to be with them. Before we can grant them a mining lease or even exploration for that matter. So they have to have the legal access, legal rights to the access.
The department is also assisting and proposing new mining methods to 8 mining companies operating here. They are being reminded to comply with all the provisions of the Mining Act. Josiah Nunga, FBC News.
Up ahead, edible coconut oil hits supermarket shelves, and real estate agents struggle with income.
Radio Fiji One, Nandomo Ibiti.
Edible coconut oil is on supermarket shelves following the launch by Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama in Savu yesterday. Produced by Fiji coconut millers, Fiji cooking coconut oil is made in Savu and has the potential to reach the international market. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
Product development and diversification has seen the launch of Fiji coconut millers' third and latest product, the Fiji coconut cooking oil.
Our people's health will certainly benefit from the addition addition of healthy fats like coconut oil rather than highly processed oil and other foods. But I want Fiji Coconut Millers Limited and our farmers here today to think even bigger about the possibility of this new product and the potential of your new brand.
With declining virgin coconut oil prices, Fiji Coconut Millers has identified coconut cooking oil to be the successor with high demand and better price offers.
Almost $20 million of oil is imported in the country for cooking. And as such, the best thing to do is this cooking oil. Totally naturally processed by Fiji Coconut Millers that will go right into the pots.
Prime Minister Warengen Bainimarama also commissioned Fiji Coconut Millers' $386,000 edible coconut oil production facility, which has the capacity to produce 5 tons of edible coconut oil in a week.
Today, this new production facility is granting us a glimpse of the future of Fijian copra growing. Instead of supplying copra to this factory, farmers can provide whole coconuts, cutting the production costs. These coconuts will be hygienically dehusked, deshelled and refined to produce high-quality, chemical-free cooking oil.
Fiji Coconut Cooking Oil is already available on major supermarket shelves around the country and come in 500 milliliters, 750 milliliters and 1 liter bottles. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
With Fijians now opting for low rental properties, some real estate agents are struggling as they have been relying heavily on commissions for income. Many high-end rental properties are empty as the tenants have either returned to their home countries or have downgraded to cheaper apartments. Kritika Kumar reports.
Bayshore Real Estate Director Arif Khan believes all stakeholders must work together in these trying times.
With the lower demands, I think there should be greater collaboration between investors, landlords, and agents, as well as banks, to ensure that we work together and sustain ourselves. For example,
Khan also highlighted some property owners may find difficulty to pay their mortgages as Fijians are opting for low-budget houses.
You know, with the mortgage payment deferment coming up in 3 months, some of the landlords who hold investment properties may need a deferment because of the fact that some of the tenants have either moved into lower properties, rental properties, or moved to their villages.
Economist Dr. Rohit Kishore believes the investors will be cautious given the uncertain economic environment.
People will be very careful, very caution in going into building a lot of buildings. All these buildings going up everywhere got a lot of debt component in it. And you want tenants. The investors who are investing in this building, they want tenants.
As the tourism activity remains muted, many Fijians working in the sector have returned to their villages. This has severely impacted the landlords in the Nandi and Lautoka area as their rental properties remain vacant. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Enhancing child protection services, increasing assistance for the vulnerable and revising laws to protect our elderly are some areas included in the budget submission made by the Fiji Council of Social Services. Director Vani Vatanasinga says they are hopeful no one will be left behind. Sainiani Boiler reports.
FCOS has requested for more funding for social welfare assistance in its budget submission for 2020-2021.
We made some specific recommendations on increasing support for child protection services and awareness campaigns, particularly in areas where this is a common occurrence. We looked at services for older persons and we recommended the revitalization of the National Council of Older Persons.
Vatanasinga says they also recommend food security and safe drinking water for those living in informal settlements.
We looked at water. Water was a big issue for a lot of those along the, these are people not just in rural areas, but those who are just living outside of Suva, outside of Lautoka.
The Ministry of Economy has received submissions from various stakeholders.
We received over 200 submissions from the private sector across the various industries. So we're looking at how we can support some of the the submissions that really contributing to employment creation and to getting the economy moving again.
The budget will be announced on the 17th of this month. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Turning overseas, 10 people in Hong Kong have been arrested under the new anti-protest law imposed by China. They can now face life sentences after thousands took to the streets to mark 23 years since British rule of the island ended. And Whitney is here now with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, Commerce Ministry works on creative policies. And efforts underway to bolster domestic rice industry. Stay with us.
हम शायर प्रकाश बात करते हैं अक्तावा में मिर्ची एफएम सब कंसर्न एंड मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट
The Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry has set up a think tank to come up with proposals for the 2020-2021 national budget. Minister Fayaz Quair says this budget will be unlike any in the past, since COVID-19 has drastically changed the landscape in the private sector.
The ministry is keenly aware that now more than ever, the private sector is pinning its hope in the new budget to keep businesses afloat.
The page that we work off changes every day. So they've got eyes on the world with respect to what's happening, what measures are being put in place, different governments around the world. There's also a think tank exercise going on in respect of what measures can be put in place, and the suggestions will go across to the Ministry of Economy. But yes, most definitely. You know, we have to be very, very creative as to how we actually get out of this and you know, move Fiji forward and get back to some degree of normalcy.
2 weeks from the budget announcement, the government is putting the final touches into what is expected to be a fiscal plan designed to assist economic recovery. The Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation has already put its case forward.
Our submissions have been around helping to keep money within the businesses. So, you know, if we can come up with incentives that will mean that businesses can keep operating with having the cash in the business, then they can keep people employed a bit longer.
It's not always that government's going to have the answer for everything. So the more minds we have in terms of being able to assist Fiji in getting out of this, it actually helps. They've come up with good ideas, good suggestions, and it's been good.
So far, the government has focused on giving small businesses a leg up or helping laid-off workers start their own enterprise. Permanent Secretary for Economy Makareta Konrote has already said the new budget will see the private sector driving economic recovery. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
Sharon from HFC Bank joins us with the latest from the stock market.
On the local scene, data release shows Australia's trade balance rose 2% to $8.03 billion in May. The exports dropped 4%, while imports were down 6%. Meanwhile, U.S. Federal Reserve policymakers are looking at reviving a Great Recession-era promise. It is to keep interest rates low until certain conditions are met in a bid to deliver a more rapid recovery from the recession triggered by the pandemic. Fed officials anticipate the U.S. economy will suffer the worst downturn since World War II. However, on the data front, U.S. manufacturing activity rebounded more than expected in June. The manufacturing index by the Institute for Supply Management hit its highest in 14 months as businesses gradually resumed operations. It's been a very quiet session in European dealing, with equities slightly lower and currencies mixed as market trade water ahead of U.S. employment data tomorrow. And that's all from HFC Bank for now. Vinaka.
Turning to today's exchange rates as set this morning, the Fiji dollar was generally showing gains today as it rose versus the Chinese yuan and the US greenback. There were also gains against the Aussie dollar, the euro and the Japanese yen. However, it declined versus the Kiwi dollar and the PNG kina. Onto the commodities market, crude oil prices dropped a cent to remain just below $40 a barrel. Gold was on the descent at $1,768 per ounce and silver closed down at $17.94 an ounce. The government is committed to bolstering the domestic rice industry through targeted assistance to farmers, says Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama. Speaking at the commissioning of the Fiji Rice Limited building in Reketi, Madhuwata, Bainimarama said there is a need to tap into innovations and explore new ways of serving the rice farmers. Eleanor Tarangai View has more.
Over the past few years, government has given rice farmers in Reketi, Madhuwata new trucks, tractors, excavators and a warehouse. Yesterday, government has made it easier for them to access services of the Fiji Rice Limited by funding for a new office building.
Your farmers previously had to travel all the way to office in Lamasa, an entire day's journey, simply to pick up your checks. But now, with this new Reketi FRL office, those days are over.
Commissioning the building, Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama stresses government is dedicated to improving every part of farmers' lives by investing through Fiji Rice Limited for the success of farmers.
Your government is committed to FRL success and, more importantly, the success of our rice farmers. So as we look to the future, we will continue to support FRL in its ultimate goal of making Fiji rice production self-sufficient in the years to come.
Fiji Rice Limited Board Chair Raj Sharma says government's continued assistance has seen the reform and restructure of the company, turning it around financially from recording losses to now gaining profits.
When we look at our financials, we have been making losses in previous years to around 260,000, and for the last 4 years, we have turned around to make a small profit that has gone up to $500,000 to 230,000, and this year we also expect a small profit.
Fiji Rice Limited now has plans to further expand their operations, which include setting up a mill in Viti Levu and diversifying into producing byproducts. Eleanor Tarangai View, FBC News.
That's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Thank you, Whitney, and good evening. Up ahead, and busy schedule for Men in Black. This and more in sports after the break.
My name is Enrico. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks in Suba.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber is likely to get his contract extended by the Fiji Rugby Union. Chief Executive John O'Connor says while this is likely to happen, there's nothing official at the moment, despite a report published by Rugby Pass.
We will be discussing with coach the continuity of his contract until the Olympics, but at the same time we will be discussing plans, what we need to do, discussing the resources that we need to help the team and coach prepare a team that is going to defend the gold medal.
With last year's Women's Skipper Cup semi-final loss to Tai Levu still fresh in the minds of the Suva team, the new look side is out to redeem themselves. Coach Tavaita Rowati says the side has a good balance of youth and experience and are currently focused on mastering the basics before the new season kicks off. Tale Materkula reports.
These women have turned their focus to improving their skills.
Yes, with the caliber of players that we have, we got a mixture of senior girls and very young girls just out of school. Focus now is just on learning the core skills, making sure they master the core skills, and just learning how to play the 15th game.
Rawati says the players will need to get back in shape before the game.
Most of the players are below 50%, so right now it's trying to get their body condition to be ready the first game, and with a number of rounds set for skipper competition, I believe they'll be in time fit enough to handle the 14 rounds.
Wary of Nandrunga's squad pack, hooker Ada Denzi is banking on her teammates to perform well.
Our set plays and probably our forwards pack, because we know Nandrunga will be a tough team to battle, but come game time, we'll provide what's needed.
Suva will take on Nanranga in the opening round of the Women's Skipper Cup competition on the 25th of this month at Singotoke's Lawanga Park. Talima Terkula, FBC Sports.
Doing something you love will sometimes come at a cost, but usually if you're passionate enough about it and endure the struggles and challenges, it will pay off. This rings true for France-bound Kaiviti Silktails player Chowasan Ronrolangi. The 25-year-old didn't always have the blessings of his father as he chased a career in the sport.
I started playing rugby league. My dad doesn't like me playing rugby league. He wanted me to study. So I always go play, and only my mom always know that I always go play. My dad saw my name on the newspaper, being called into the Fiji residence camp.
The FNRL says during such a time as this, clubs would be reluctant to sign players, but it's great to see a local securing a contract.
The FNRL Players Pathway provides the environment for players to progress. We are very much improving on our coaching and local development. And I know Choasa has come through the FNRL pathway.
Bar football has a tough month ahead with 6 matches lined up for the resumption of the Vodafone Premier League. Coupled with the mid-season transfer window, which will bring some changes to their squad, the side will have to dig deep when the season resumes. Caroline Itavi has more.
The Mba side's first match against Navoa is scheduled for July 11th, Lautoka on the 15th, Nasinu on the 18th, Nandi on the 22nd and Lambasa on the 25th. Head coach Ronil Kumar says they will take each game as it comes.
Looking for the first game, so how the players will cope with the first game. So we will take each game at a time. So first we play Navoa, so we're going to focus on Navoa, then we're going to go step by step.
Suva plays Mba on August 1st and is aware of the preparation the Man in Black has put in for the Vodafone Premier League.
And the players are basically unfit, so we're trying to get fit. And Mba's been training for a while now.
27-year-old Suva rep Manase Levadi says the inclusion of new players in the squad has boosted the team's morale.
We are fortunate we have a few of our fellow teammates just joining, some from Mba and Lambasa and last season boys, and we hope it goes well throughout the season.
Ranking in the top 6 of the Vodafone Premier League is a crucial component for district teams in order to qualify for the Vodafone Fiji Fact. Carlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
A 3-2 win over Chelsea has delivered a huge boost to West Ham United's hopes of avoiding relegation from the Premier League. West Ham manager David Moyes needed a big performance to turn around their fortunes, and his side didn't disappoint. In today's play of the day, Arsenal were 4-0 winners over Norwich in the EPL this morning, and it was this howler from the Norwich goalkeeper that set Arsenal on its way. That's it from sports tonight. In new media after the break, more corporate giants boycott Facebook. Details after the break.
Bula FM number 2 en seri.
In your media tonight, advertisements for more than 400 brands, including Coca-Cola and Starbucks, are due to vanish from Facebook. This comes after the failure of last-ditch talks to stop a boycott over hate speech on the site. And Angie is here with all the updates from the weather world.
Noya, and welcome to the Sun and Rain world. It's Friday Eve and there is so much joy about it because the weekend is so near. How did you like the weather for the day? The sun was around and it was a good sight to see. Now in the west, it was quite humid, but to mention the overall structure of the day, it was pretty fascinating. It just makes you want to do so many things. East-west from Pekhaba to Suva, mild sunshine and very windy. It will be another cold night. And up north, it was just about right. The low pressure system is slowly drifting over. There is high chance of showers tonight. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, low tide at 8:19 p.m. with high tide at 2:43 a.m. Sunrise at 6:39. For tomorrow, it's a Friday, the best day of the week. It will have a bit of sunshine followed by overcast conditions. Tomorrow's temps, the Soka Town Bar will have 19 degrees by night. It will get pretty chilly, so prepare your blankets. And looking further on to Saturday, the day will be stunning from what I see for now. That's all the weather news from here. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fiji Pulse tonight, we asked, are you satisfied with the discounted rates given by hotels for your local holiday?
Well, for me, the rates are affordable, especially that most of us want to go to these hotels, but it's the cost that often holds us back. But now it's worth going.
I think the hotel rates are affordable at the moment.
The rates are really low now, and it matches what we can afford as locals.
I'm happy that the rates have come down and many locals are now benefiting from it. Usually it's the tourists who go to these resorts, but now we can also go there.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, FICAC conducts raid at Sodelpa office. ILO predicts gloom employment future, and do not take advantage, FNPF warns employers. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking, should the COVID-19 curfew be kept until the end of the year? Visit our FBC website to answer. Next up is our shot of the day. Now this sunset was taken at the village of Matawailevu Nalawara by Lepani Ndalivalu. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe, stay warm and dry. Bye for now.
हम विनल प्रकाश है, गोल्टन तामो में रहता है और सबको रेडियो फीजी 2 सुने, सबको लाइक करे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।